This is problem 1.11 from Francois Tardieu's Backgammon Strategic Concepts book, Chapter 1, Opening Rolls, in the beginning of the game. This is a position where we're blue, our home board is bottom right. We rolled a 6-1. We'll look at three possible moves for the 6-1. I'll go over what I think are my pros and cons that I see. We'll look at Tardieu's analysis with feedback from XG, and then look at Tardieu's summary. First possible move is to run one from the 24 to the 18 and then cover the blot on the 7 like this. It makes our 7 point, which is a constructive point to have, covers the blot that was on the 7 point, does strip the 8 point. It runs one of our back checkers to the bar point, which we might be able to cover next time, or it might get hit also. It runs when we're leading the race, which is a good thing. We'll be up 8 pips at the end of the roll. Second possible move is to move 24-23, 13-7, like this. Again, it makes that 7 point, covers the blot on the 7, does not strip our 8 point. It does strip the midpoint, though. It does mobilize our back checkers, getting them ready to make an advanced anchor or maybe running one safely out. And it does leave the blot on the 11 point. Third possibility is to make our 5 point, make 11-5, 6-5. 5 is a very valuable point to have. Many players called it the golden point. It makes our home board stronger than white's. Because now we have two spots covered in our home board, the 5 and the 6. White only has the 6 covered on his board. Unstacks a 6 point. Good thing. Does not strip the midpoint. That's also good. Leaves our blot vulnerable on the 7 point. It does duplicate white's good 3s and 6s. You could use 3 and 6 to possibly make the 20 point on his turn, or he'll have to choose between making a good point or hitting us if he gets 3s and 6s. Here are the three final positions. Here's 24-18, 8-7, final position. Here's 24-23, 13-7, final position. Here's covering the 5 point final position. So compare those three final positions. Look at the pip count, the strength of each player's board, and the threats facing each player after the move. And make your choice of which move you think is the best. And let's look what Tardieu says. Tardieu, with feedback from XG, says that making the 7 point is constructive, but the 5 point is more constructive, more beneficial. It'll be a long-term asset if we can make that 5 point. So the two rolls where we make the 7 point, this and this, are not as good as making the 5 point. The 5 point makes it harder. It's an interboard point, makes it harder for white to enter if we hit him. It unstacks our 6 point, and it prevents white from making that valuable 5 point himself. It also duplicates white's 3s and 6s, which make this the best play. And if we modify, now here's the summary. Tardieu says when you have to leave a shot, use duplication to minimize your opponent's good rolls, which is what we're doing when we make the 5 spot. If we modify the roll, the move. To make fours good for white, like on top, then we should duplicate the fours for white by putting a blot on the four, on the five, hitting it with a four. If he if we modify the move so that sixes are good, where white would have to choose a six to hit or a six to cover a good point, then we should make that move. So the key thing to remember is look at rolls which choose your opponent to have to make a choice between two good rolls. You'll only be able to do one of them.